Hey guys, Brittany here. So today I want to talk about how, as an INFJ, do I deal with stress? Because I know personally, like with my personality type, with our personality type, stress is a serious thing and we really need to know how to deal with it because if we don't, then really bad things can happen. I've noticed myself personally, if I don't take time to really take care of myself and feed my own soul, then life just becomes really destructive, almost self-destructive. And I can identify some like personal bad habits, and over time I've kind of like learned this about myself. Like if I don't take time to slow down and to feed my own soul and my own spirit, like it just affects every other area of my life. Like I have a 3-year-old son, I'm a wife, and I'm a business owner. So for me, like if I get stressed out and I get trapped in that constant thought pattern or thought loop, obsessive thinking, or just snapping at everyone and everything because I'm miserable, like that's not good at all. So it's really, really important for me personally to be able to find a healthy way as an INFJ to deal with stress. So for me personally, that is, I have to express myself. There is like a cobweb. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I have to be able to express myself creatively, and my business allows me to be able to do that because I'm a content creator and I'm constantly creating content for the internet for people out there to gain more value, and it just makes me feel so fulfilled, and it gets me into that flow zone where like when you're doing something and you just lose track of time because you're enjoying what you're doing and you're in like flow state. It gets me into that. Like certain parts of my business, no, it doesn't get me into that. But the creative part of it and aspect of it and just me expressing myself to the world and sharing it with others, that gets me in the zone and that fuels my soul and just makes me feel so accomplished and fulfilled, satisfied, happy, all of that in one. So that's one way that I deal with stress. Is I genuinely love to work in my business and create content for you guys, so that you guys can hopefully benefit out of it and get some inspiration from me and some tips and knowledge. But that's one way I deal with stress. Another way I deal with stress is also another form of creative expression, self-expression, and that is painting. I actually did this painting, and that one I did, and pretty much all the ones on my walls I did. I have found, I think last year, I found fluid acrylic painting, and there's so many different techniques. I'm such a creative person, and I know INFJs in general are creative people. And so there's so many different things that I want to try. And so throughout the years I have, like when I was in high school, I took pottery, I took jewelry making. I came across fluid artwork like last year or something, and I realized that there's so much like freedom in it. There's so many ways that you can do it. There's so many techniques, and nothing is like, there's no wrong way to do it. And for me, that's like amazing because I'm a perfectionist. So like when I can take some paint and throw it on a canvas and push it around, and no matter how it comes out, that's how it was supposed to come out. That was an expression of myself in that moment. That is extremely satisfying for me, and it just makes me extremely happy and also releases some stress. And for me, it's a double whammy because I can film it at the same time and then use it as content. So it makes me feel even more happy because I'm like doing creative things from different perspectives and everything, so it's really cool. So that's another thing that I do, is I create fluid artwork or anything creative. I'm also a soap maker. I make my own natural homemade soap because I didn't like all the chemicals and stuff that are out there in the detergent bars in the supermarket. They're not really detergent. Well, they are really detergent bars, but they're not marketed as detergent bars, but they should be. But they dry out your skin and all sorts of stupid things like that. So I decided to make my own, and lo and behold, I went on YouTube because I'm an avid YouTube learner and I found basically it's like a creative art form of soap making, right? and you can learn how to do all sorts of cool things with soap making. I know you probably, artisan soap making, that's what it is. You would never think that you can make artisan soap, but trust me guys, you can. Like, you can find natural ways to color the soap batter different colors, and then you pour it a certain way, and then you can swirl it with different kind of swirling tools, and there's different techniques. So I did that for like a year or two, and I got really like deep into that, and I got good at making soap. So that's another thing. Like, if I don't feel like painting, I don't feel like creating content, recording videos or whatever, I can make soap. So if you're into like make it your own, do it yourself kind of things like that, you might like soap making. It's really satisfying knowing that you have the capability to make something that is a basic necessity to keep yourself clean and like give it to your family. Plus, like when you make one batch of soap, it's way more cost effective than buying a bunch of soap at the store that's going to eventually dry your skin out so that you can go buy more soap at the store and lotion because they dried your skin out. Anyways, and rant. Obviously I'm a passionate person. Obviously I'm a passionate person. You guys can gather that from now. You probably already know since you're probably an INFJ watching this. So what's some other things I do to relieve my stress? Let's see here. I write in my journal. So I have this, let me show you. I have this really cool journal, and I like my journals to be like special, if that makes any sense. So I got this journal, and it's made out of natural materials. Let's see here. It's made out of the Lodka plant. It came with this little description here of where it comes from. It's eco-friendly, tree-free, handmade, ancient craft, promotes fair trade, and a woman cooperative. So that's really cool. So I write in this journal. I try to write in my journal every single day, but especially when I'm feeling stressed out, I just dump my thoughts into my journal. And it really helps when I'm stressed out, because a lot of times, like, there's so many thoughts going on in my mind and about different topics and whatnot, and I just can't get them sorted out, and it makes me feel really overwhelmed all at once. So when I'm writing in my journal, I can kind of pinpoint one thing at a time. Okay, what am I feeling in this moment? Let me dump it out. It's basically like emptying my brain into my journal and then kind of leaving me feeling lighter, like more empty, and like I got everything off of my chest, you know, and it helps me to like look at my thoughts and see what's going on in my mind without judgment. So definitely writing in my journal is something that relieves my stress and is a must-do. And I focus on gratitude too, to try to change my perspective when I'm in a really bad state of mind. I dump out all my thoughts in my journal, and then when I'm done dumping all of my head trash out into my journal, I find 3 things at least that I can be grateful for and why, and then I write that down at the end of every journal session. So another thing that I do that relieves stress is I get outside. Like, I need the fresh air, I need the sun, and I've realized over the years, like, I really need a lot of fresh air, a lot of sun, a lot of vitamin D, you know, and when it gets winter time here, it kind of drives me crazy. But I don't know if you've ever seen like Smallville or Superman or whatever, and he basically gets fed by the energy of the sun. Like, I personally think that's how people are. Like, obviously in the show it's more amplified, but me in particular, INFJs in particular, like, I really think the sun is very, very good for us, and it recharges us. And just being in nature in general recharges us. So that's another thing that I do when I'm completely stressed out and going out of my mind, is I go outside and I just, you know, I let the energy from the earth kind of recharge me and calm myself down and just appreciate the natural beauty that's all around me. So those are a few ways that I deal with stress as an INFJ. If you guys have any different ways that I haven't mentioned, or anything that you think maybe I'd be interested in, let me know in the comments. Like, how do you deal with stress with our personality type? Because I tend to feel like with our personality type, we get overwhelmed and overstimulated really easily, or we just get exhausted by everyday, day-to-day, you know, things, especially if you're a parent. me being a parent, a wife, a business owner, I'm very prone to getting exhausted. So sometimes I just need to like unplug from everything and get in that zone of doing something that's going to bring me that inner peace and that inner stillness and silence, you know, just kind of silence out the whole world around me. So let me know what you guys do to cope with your stress in the comments, and give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the video with anybody who needs it, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.